Welcome to episode 185 of the Confidence Through Health podcast. Your host, Jerry Snyder. In this episode, Desare Flournoy joins me to talk about Twisted Fork Festival. And this is a festival that's going on in Alabama in November 12th. And she gives the details, and they'll be in the show notes as far as if you're in that area and you want to go attend and visit, or if you're a vendor and you want to get involved. But the idea behind having a festival around healthy foods, around people that are creating healthy foods and using plants in ways to create meal options that not only give people healthy options, but give people healthy options that taste great and that taste like maybe foods that are unhealthy that some of us crave. And so I think it's a fantastic idea. That's why I had her on to help promote. And she does these around the country. This next one just happens to be in Alabama. So go to the website, find out more about what's going on. But I hope you enjoyed this conversation about thinking outside of the box when it comes to your food, where it comes from, how to prepare it, how to use it to be both healthy, but also provide you with that great flavor and taste that we all are craving, more times than not, right? Let's be honest. We crave the flavor more times than not, and that often makes our decisions on what we eat in any given meal. And so she talks about that and dealing with that throughout her life, and why she decided that this was a great avenue to help both herself and other people with her journey. So welcome, Desare, to the Confidence Through Health podcast.
Hi, nice to meet you.
So you actually messaged me and were telling me about what you're doing, and I don't even think you even knew I had a podcast. I don't know, but I was like immediately just like, oh, I want to talk to you, because what you're doing with the Twisted Fork Festival. And then once I found that and found other stuff that you've done as far as the audiobook and things to like help people find their way to a healthier eating, right? In a way that, and I don't want to steal your thunder, but in your book, you talked about how you initially started that early in life and you got away from it, and now you're back. And so tell us first off, I guess, like why start a festival around food?
To be honest, it was a few of my friends that were caterers, and I've always had clients that dealt with everything. And these two were just really good chefs. Being from Wisconsin, I love butter.
Yeah.
And he made a vegan butter that was just greatness.
Yeah.
So I was like, people need to know who you are. And I was working at an event hall. And so I was like, well, I could showcase the hall and him. I had Twisted Fork, the name, for years, and I just never did anything with it.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I could do this to promote him. By the end of that first festival, we had about 33 vendors,
Nice.
75% food, and the other were just natural products, just everything natural, from makeup to toothpaste,
right? And
all entrepreneurs. Everyone had started within 2 years.
Yeah.
So it was just a nice energy. Entrepreneurs are a little bit more hungry than most.
Yeah.
And so
Right.
it was just, the festival was just a great energy.
Yeah. And so and you just decided to continue it because the first one was so good.
The first one was great. And they asked me to do another one. The first one was in November. They was like, do another one in April. I was like, there's no way. But when the response I got, especially, no offense, being in the South, where it's edible, it's friable, I didn't anticipate the draw from the community that we had. So the first festival was about 400 to 500. Then the second one was a little over 7.
Nice.
Yeah, I was very surprised.
Nice. And so you've got another one coming up November.
We do, November 12th. This is our second one since COVID. Because we took a little bit of a break.
Sure. Yeah.
But then we're back in our hometown in Huntsville.
Yeah.
And this one is the standard Twisted Fork, but we have a few things implemented for kids.
Okay.
I have a lot of make and take things because I want to get them understanding that vegetables don't have to taste horrific.
Right.
And that's sometimes a little bit daunting in itself.
Right. Well, and so I'm originally from Baton Rouge. So,
Okay.
I feel you with the Southern food and the comfort food and
Yes.
in the understanding of like, okay, but I think there is a big draw now, because I think people are starting to understand that, okay, it's not just to eat your vegetables because, the government says eat your vegetables. No, it's eat your vegetables because they make you feel better. And they're better for you.
Yeah. Understanding that when you hit past 40, you realize when I eat something, I feel something. I don't know if you're just more conscious of it, but
right.
That is a different conversation. And so I like being able to have that with people here. Like, you don't have to feel that way.
Yeah.
It's not, it's an option. It's not like a guarantee.
Right. And so, but I know that you said in the, just so that people that are interested and they're close by, or maybe if they want to get involved with the next one that you do, it's not all vegan, right?
No, it's not. It's not all vegan. You start where you start. So it is vegan and vegetarian.
Yeah.
So we have a nice blend, and I want people to feel comfortable. That's why my festivals are 90% free.
Yeah.
Some we may have some that are not, but it's definitely come taste. There's going to be things for sale. There will be things that you can taste.
Yeah.
Just come and participate. It'll be in Huntsville, Alabama, at the Dr. Richard Shower Center.
Okay, and I'll put all that stuff in the show notes so that people can find it and find a way to be involved if they want to volunteer or they want to be, a vendor or something like that.
Volunteers are very, 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 very important. Volunteers are important. The first couple of years, it was me and my son and my mom. So volunteers are important. Vendors are definitely important. We do take food and non-food vendors.
Right. And so now you mentioned your mom in helping you get it so. And in your audiobook, you talk about like your mom's influence early on in bringing into this like vegetarian vegan lifestyle that you didn't necessarily know at that age what it was, right?
Oh, definitely. She definitely started the conversation about being vegan and vegetarian. And we were, because back then it wasn't really vegan. It was mostly like vegetarian, lacto ovo lacto. Right. So she kind of introduced us to it, and we were like, no, this is not happening. I come from a full-fledged, my grandparents bought a half a cow pretty much every reunion that we have, half a pig, half a cow. Yeah. So having that conversation with my mom was different, looked at different. But it was a nice journey. I mean, I think that's where the book came from, that whole frustration with diet. And it was just like looking at the totality of it. Mm-hmm. It was an amazing journey, and I do appreciate her bringing that in. You don't realize the points in your life that create this moment,
right?
Because being in the fair, which I love, and my mother and the concept of nutrition, that makes a difference.
Yeah, and it's like you said, it's strange how you don't realize those things early on in life. Right. Mm-hmm. Both the lessons that you're learning and like just straight up from the food that you eat, and that like, oh, that's what made me feel bad. Right. It wasn't that and it could be a combination of like, I didn't sleep well because I'm young. And so I didn't get enough sleep, those types of things. But it's compounding all those things, and it's easy to neglect it. And then later on, like you said, when you're over 40, all of a sudden things start to go like, oh, I feel
right. Yeah. Doing events. I'm like, I lived on Mountain doing Snickers, and you're like, I can do that for 3 weeks. No, you can't. no, you can't. But I guess, another thing about the festival, I want people to understand, you don't have to sacrifice taste to eat healthy.
Right.
Because your palate is, and honestly, the fresher your food, it has a different taste.
Oh yeah.
It has a great different taste. And I love having chefs in my family that help me just comprehend balancing fat and acid. Mm-hmm. You can make any dish amazing. And I think that that's another thing that the chefs do well at the festival, just to let people know that there's so many different varieties, that it's not just, and to be honest, meat doesn't taste great by itself without the seasonings.
Right. Well, and that's one of the things that like, anybody can go, whether it's a festival like this or just a farmer's market. Like if you go and you taste something that's grown and this comes straight from even whether it's that day or the day before, but it hasn't taken a trip across the country for a week, you know, and grown in a mass, like in a small farm, they just taste different.
They taste different. Tomatoes are different. There was a tomato sandwich festival not too far from here, and just the variety of the taste of the different tomatoes was crazy. And they were all grown within 100-mile radius, but it was a great festival.
Yeah. And that's one of the keys I think that people need to know is that, like, while the grocery store is super convenient, and I shop at the grocery store, like it's super convenient. You're able to get things quickly. And you're able to get everything in one spot versus, like, you know, sometimes you go to the farmer's market and so didn't show up with, you know, their strawberries, and you're like, oh,
right.
You know, and so now I've got to go get them at the grocery store if I want them for that week. You know, and so there's situations like that, but when you can find those outlets that are local, not only are you helping, like you said, the entrepreneurs, like the local farmers that are trying to make it, trying to make life happen, and do it right, but the quality is so much better.
It's
not just
so
taste, but quality.
It is so much better. And even taking my niece picking, like just going to pick, and she's like, I don't eat green beans. I don't eat this. And it's when they're out there, it's different.
Yeah.
It's different. It's different.
And people don't, I think another thing that people don't realize is that, like, the size of the fruit and the size of the vegetables is different.
Yeah,
right?
Definitely different. Definitely different. The size, the color.
Yeah.
It's definitely different.
And we're so stuck in, I say stuck because it's the sort of the way that our society with the food manufacturing and the food prep's gone, is like we're stuck into our carrots have to look this way, right? Our zucchini has to look this way.
Yeah, and it's funny you say that, because there's a company that we do the festival around the United States. So we did one in Wisconsin, and I came across Imperfect Foods.
Yeah.
And I literally love that company. So all of their carrots, their tomatoes, everything looks warped, you know, because this is stuff that's not pretty enough to be in mainstream, but they still sell it and package it. And I'm like, I just thought that was an awesome concept to even create the company to do that.
Yeah.
And I really, really love that, because we do get stuck on that it's supposed to look this particular way versus how it tastes.
Yeah. And it's also, like I was talking about, bigger is not always better.
It's true.
Right. Because, and even you get into, like, I remember over the summer, we took our kids to camp and we stopped at a little fruit stand on the side of the road. Little farmer had his fruit stand out, and we got a watermelon, and we came home, and I was a little shocked at first, because I was like, oh my gosh, I haven't seen this many seeds in a watermelon in I don't know how long.
Yeah. That's
right.
That's true.
And I was like, but then it took me back to, I was like, oh my gosh, I remember, you know, being 5 years old and spitting watermelon seeds, and of course being told, like, you know, you're going to grow a watermelon in your butt, in your stomach if you eat them, and all that kind of stuff. But like,
right. And I'm like, that stuff now, so many things don't have seeds.
Yeah. And that's scary.
That's very weird. Like,
yeah.
How do you have a lemon with no seed? Like, they're just, it's very, very odd.
And so, but it's one of those, I think it's one of those comfort things, right? That people they don't want to have to struggle with taking the seed out, and, you know, or crunching on it. Oh man, I crunched on a seed, and now I got to spit all this stuff out. Like,
which is so insane. That is a issue. The fact that that's a problem for us is that, that's interesting that we want to be that convenient.
Right. And so is that something that is it something that you notice with people that come to the festival? I'm assuming you get like, you know, feedback and stuff. Like, do you notice people saying stuff like that?
We get the prima donnas, and the cool thing is the prima donnas usually dissipate once they taste.
Oh yeah.
Because I have one particular vendor that I love to death, and prettiness is not necessarily their biggest strong suit as far, but their food is absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
It's just really, really good. And it's funny how that I'll see people and they'll be like, what is that? Like, what are you eating? That's why I love to have the food area, the seating area where people can sit, Because when you see someone eating and like this is the best thing that they've had all week,
Yeah.
and you're like, I need that. I don't even know what that is, but I need that.
Right.
And so, because I don't even, I mean, I hate to say this, but I don't eat black eyed peas. I didn't until a vendor brought some, and I was like, these are amazing.
Yeah.
And how we do get the prima donnas that say, hey, I don't eat that, or I don't eat this. And I'm like, just taste it. That's why I encourage all the vendors, have something that they can taste, because the whole concept is you want to blow people's mind. Right. You want that taste and see. You want them to understand that. I had a guy come in full leather in Texas, full leather, coming with his wife. He probably just wanted to be antagonistic.
Yeah.
But a big biker dude, and he was like, I'm not eating. I said, just taste it. So I gave him one of my vouchers. I usually keep some at the front for people that I see that I want them to taste. So just here, go ahead and taste it. I'll pay for it. Yeah. And of course, he came back and he was like, I'm not saying it was good, but it wasn't bad. I said, that's all I ask. I said, that's it. That's all I ask. I just want you to understand that everything healthy does not taste like grass. It is not horrific. Just you can do something better for your body. Just something. Yeah. So we'll get those odds and, people who have their nose up. But once they leave, food is food. Right. Food is food. Food can cross a lot of barriers.
Right. And I think that's another thing. Like and you see this in restaurants, of course, but like when somebody has something that is spectacular taste wise, right? Everybody wants it. Right.
Period. Yeah.
And to be able to do that and have it be healthy.
Yeah.
Is like next level.
Yeah. That's what my son said. He was like, I can come here and eat and not feel guilty. And I was like, I never really thought about it like that, but I guess that's true. I said, you could come and just be able to eat everything. And another lady was like, she had a lot of dietary restrictions. She said, I've never been to a place where I can have so many options. Yeah. And especially with new vegans or new strict, maybe gluten-free, it's nice to be able to have more than one option at a place that's other than the salad. Right. So I love doing that. I love the wow factor. I love when people are like, I can't believe this is here, or I can't believe this tastes like this, or I can't believe this is made out of plants. Right. And it's not the processed stuff that's made out of plants, right? That's making a lot of news. This is like the chef is picking the stuff made. Yes, like they've actually made, which is way more healthy, and they know what's in it. Right. Because it's actually something that they put in it, which I absolutely love. Yeah. And it takes, not that it takes like I mean, I'm sure it does take different training wise, but it takes a different mindset as a chef to be able to be that creative, right? Do you see that with the people that you deal with? Oh my goodness, that want to be creative, because we have people that are like, I need to find a way to do this. And that's funny. And one of the ladies who came, she actually wanted to do it because her mother was very, very, very ill. And so she was like, I want to do this to help her be healthy. And so I thought that was really, really commendable. And so I was like, that's interesting, because your motivation is different. Right. Therefore, your food is going to be different. You know what I mean? And it's and people always say, like when you cook with love, it's different. And I didn't always believe that, but I truly, truly believe that now. My patience level is different when I cook. I actually cook now. I didn't cook before. Yeah. My sister, she's an amazing, amazing chef. And she's not even vegan, and she cooks vegan food very well. Yeah. But the love and the preparation makes a difference when you prepare food. And you can tell people, you can tell the vendors off bat that love what they do. And the people that they enjoy it, but you can tell the difference when they love it. Right.
Well, and I was watching a documentary on basically the same thing we're talking about. It's like it was called The Healing Kitchen. Is talking about cooking food, cooking with plants, and they had a farmer that one of the chefs highlighted, like, I get my stuff from this guy because, and they went and followed him on the farm, and he's like loving on the plants.
Yes,
and so when you say it's like it starts from the beginning, whether you have a garden yourself, and you're out there tending to it and loving on it and giving it care, or getting your stuff, like, if it's starting from the very beginning, it's a whole different level as well.
Yeah, it's a very, very different process. And you have those chefs that grow their own herbs, they grow their own vegetables, and it does have a different taste in their food.
Yeah.
I was never really a plant person as far as like house plants. I've had gardens, but the people that have plants and talk to their plants, it's
Mm-hmm.
different. That's a
Yeah.
whole different connection. And I was like, that's interesting. But yeah, you have those that have the herb gardens and the actual gardens, and they put that in their food. It's great.
Yeah. So where do you see Twisted Fork Festival? Like, where do you see it going? What's the vision?
Um, to be honest, I didn't have a vision for it. It was something I wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to showcase people.
Yeah.
But now, of course, COVID shifted things.
Yep.
COVID shifted us to focus on what I really loved about the festival.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, the main thing I loved was the connecting.
Yeah.
I loved my vendors because I used to be a vendor. My vendors are my babies. They are the KPI. If my vendors do well, then my event is done well.
Yeah.
So because of that, we created Veg Fest TV so that we can have Veg Fest vendors from across the United States can connect with attendees from across the United States on a regular basis. So you may have gone to an event in Texas and be like, there was a vendor there, and you can come to Veg Fest TV and you'll be able to see it. And they may be able to, whether they ship or, they don't, or if you're in that area. But the connecting of them has just always been awesome. Because I always had people after the festival saying, there was a lady that made this orange thing. And I'm like, I have no idea. I have no idea.
Right.
But if you know her face, you can go and say, hey, I know them. I want that thing. And can you ship it to me? Right. So that the connection was the baby. That's what I love the most of it. So that's kind of what we did. So I will never leave the festival because the festival is my heart. But to extend past that, I want to do the Veg Fest TV. And the second thing is the book.
Yeah.
I wrote the book a while ago, but I never told anybody because I was kind of embarrassed. But everybody has to start somewhere with their health.
Right.
Everybody has to start somewhere. And that's why I put it out there, because I want people to understand you don't have to be perfect. I don't have to know everything.
Yeah.
I've been doing the health event for 7 years. I still don't know everything, but it's a process. And be okay with the process. And just people to understand that you're not by yourself. Let's go. Yeah. Just do something healthy. Put something healthy on your plate.
No, it's true. And it is. It's you're starting in reality, you're starting is right now.
Yeah.
You're starting whether you're going in a healthy direction or not. But and I think a lot of times people get stuck in a mindset of well, this is the way I've always been, so I can't change. Or, this is the way I was raised, and so this is just the way I'm going to be. But it's like, if you want to change, you can start right now.
You can.
And it doesn't mean that it's going to be easy.
Right.
But yeah, you can start right now.
Sorry, I cut you off.
No, go ahead.
But they get caught up in your family, like, this is how they've eaten. This is what we do. This is how we eat. And I'm like, but you don't have to. And it's as simple as that sounds. A lot of people don't realize the concept of change. It doesn't even come across as a thing.
Right.
You just accept the pain. You accept the weight. You accept the not being able to breathe. You accept the not being able to walk. You just accept it.
Yeah.
And you don't even understand the concept that I don't have to do this. I don't have to be here.
Right.
I don't have to have this weight. I don't have to have this non-energy.
Yeah.
It's like I can do something different. So I'm excited to talk about that.
And it doesn't have to be difficult. Right. I think that's another thing that people make it too difficult. And that's what I love about what you're doing with this festival and having so many people there. Because I'm sure you've got people that are going there like, I never thought I could do that with zucchini.
Right.
Or like, how did they do that with like, in it? But then I'm sure that the chefs are like, oh, well, it takes 10 minutes to do this.
Yeah. And that engagement is important. And that's where people like you come in saying, helping people shift their mindset.
Yeah.
Because you can start that process and say, I'm going to do this. But a coach is important to say, hey, let's continue this movement. What have you done this week? What have you done today? Right. And that's so needed. It's so needed because you're got to say, okay, to have that constant redirection, because you don't realize how loud your self-talk is till you try and quiet them down.
Oh my gosh. That is so true. Oh my gosh. And even people that like, so I'm a runner. I've been a runner all my life. On what day? It was Sunday. I went on a run and I was like, I'm struggling mentally to be in the, and I'm like, what is wrong with me? And I start going down this like self-talk, and I'm like, after about a mile of self-talk and stuff, and I was like, shut up. Like, what am I doing? Like,
exactly.
I know what I'm doing. Just go run.
Yes, exactly.
And but sometimes when we're not the expert, when we're not haven't done it for years, it's a lot harder to turn that off.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that external help of someone in your ear is important.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yep. Because you're rewiring things, just like when you start changing your food, you're rewiring how your body processes everything and the nutrients that it gets. It's the same thing going on with your mindset. You have to rewire that to think,
Oh my goodness.
And even if you're not, I tell this to people, even if you're not, it's not a fake it till you make it, but even if you're not healthy yet, or you're not, where you want to be, telling yourself, I am a healthy person. Like, I'm going to be healthier.
No, that makes a big difference. Yes, I am here, and I'm like, this moment, I'm doing this thing, and because we put it on the totality of us. Like, if I eat this, and I'm gonna say it, if I eat this cake, that I'm a bad person in the totality. No, you made a horrific decision on Tuesday.
Yeah,
and so we're going to do better on Wednesday. Right, but don't make it the totality of who you are.
Right.
I am better, and I am doing, and this is where I am. And I did something stupid, but that doesn't mean that I am stupid.
Right.
And that was one of the hardest things for me, is to not make everything all encompassing. I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
I've messed up. Yes. But next moment, my next meal, I'm going to do better.
Right. And it helps to whether you have a coach individually, or it helps to be surrounded with people, right? Like, I imagine when you've got the festival going on, it's a lot easier for you to make those healthy decisions, right? Because you've got everybody around you.
Yes, it definitely is. It definitely is when you have a tribe and like, hey, let's do this. And you're more conscious of what you're eating.
Right.
And honestly, doing the festival makes me more conscious of what I'm eating.
Yeah. And it's not because you're trying to live up to anybody else's.
Oh, no, but you're just conscious, because if I have to research the people that I'm talking to, and I learn different things, and you're like, oh, okay, I should eat this, or this is good for me, or I didn't even know this was this. And it just makes you more conscious of what you're eating. Because if you're around a group of people that fry everything, you have no reason to be conscious.
Yeah.
But when you're around people that eat healthy, you're like, oh, that's nice. What's that? Why do you eat that? And they'll tell you why they eat it. And it just makes your choices of what you do conscious. I really want people to not eat unconsciously, because we do. Oh, yeah. We do. We're like, okay, I want to do it. But no, think.
Yep.
Think why. Think, was the last time. Think, is that an emotional pull? Are you actually hungry?
Yeah.
And being around people healthy makes you do that.
And that's actually, that ties into one of the things that I tell people is, if I create a meal plan for somebody, and it's a week-long meal plan, and we talk again the next week, and I'm like, how'd it go? Everything go okay? Oh, I feel bad. I'm going to tell you that I ate the cake that's not on the meal plan, or I ate the the Twinkie or whatever it was. And I'm like, okay. And they're like, you're not mad at me? I'm like, no.
Right.
Like, why did you eat it? Right. Like, and if I can get you to say, I made a conscious decision. I knew it was going to be bad for me. I knew I was going to feel bad the next day. I knew this, or whatever was going to happen. But I still said, you know what? But I still want to eat it. I'm like, then I'm fine with that.
Right.
Because you're making a decision.
Yes. Yes,
And
that
then
matters. Yeah.
just don't do that all the time. But if you do that,
Right. But
you know,
making that conscious decision, it's because it changes, and it also changes the guilt. And it
right,
also changes the I'm just gonna allow myself to do this because I'm just bad, so I'm just do bad stuff.
right,
No, you
yep,
consciously did it. And I love the fact that you tell them that to be conscious of it.
yep. Because it's like if you can feel your body and you know what the consequences are going to be if you eat something
Mhm.
bad,
Ooh, yes.
then when you go and
Man,
do
that
it,
is
like,
cheese because I was very, very bad with cheese years ago because I knew it was bad, like physically it would bother me, but I still ate it.
yeah,
I could call it young and dumb, but that's not the truth. I didn't consciously know that you shouldn't feel bad. And
right,
now having alternatives and so many wonderful alternatives,
hmm,
it's a lot better, a
yeah,
lot healthy alternatives.
right. And that's the neat thing is that there's so many things out there that are alternatives that can
Yeah.
accomplish the same thing if you're cooking a meal. It can accomplish the same, textures, and the flavors will be different, but
Mhm.
more than likely they'll be more vibrant.
Oh yeah, and
You
palate
know,
wise, and not even that stuff that you can just make at home.
yeah,
And that is what really drew me in because I was disheartened at first with all of the weird processed fake cheeses. But
yeah,
understanding simple 2 or 3 things you can do at home, they still gives you the fat because really your body's just craving the fat.
right,
So giving you that healthy part of it and understanding why, like you said, why you're doing it.
hmm,
When you eat certain things, it just makes it different. And I'm like, okay, this is what I need today. This is why I'm craving that garbage.
right,
And it helps me make better choices. Not
yeah,
perfect choices, but better choices.
right. So for people that want to go, you gave us the date and everything, but website, how do they look up
Oh,
information?
twistedforkfestival.com.
Okay.
Twistedforkfestival.com.
Oh, and I wanted to ask you because you said you had the name Twisted Fork for a while. Like, why is that? What does that mean to you? What is
Oh,
Twisted Fork?
that's one of my favorite questions. Um, because of course, fork is a utensil for you to eat, but
Sure.
I want to twist your perception on food, twist your understanding.
Ah,
I because people have a different understanding on them. Growing up with a nutritionist, hers was just for fuel. That
right.
was the reason for food. Me, I love food. I love the taste, the
Yeah.
textures. I love food. And so just putting those together and understanding, just twist your perception. You can still have it for fuel, but it still can taste good.
Yeah.
And understanding how it affects your body. And so basically, just to twist your perception of it.
That's cool. So twistedforkfestival.com and then the Veg Fest TV.
Yes, VegFest TV. And everything you can get off of twistedfork.com.
Okay.
Twistedforkfestival.com. You can
Okay.
get everything there. You can get the book there. You can get the VegFest TV. You can get the vendor information, everything right there.
Awesome. That's great. Well, it's been a pleasure talking to you, Desare.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Commend you on what you're doing. It's super important to be able to spread how healthy food can be and still, like you said, taste good, blow your mind on how good it can taste and still be healthy. And it doesn't have to be just the continuous processed fast food that so many people are stuck on.
Right.
So thank you so much.
Thank you.